Attention, attention, this is not a drill. We are currently issuing a flood warning for anybody living within the Pittsburgh area, especially those that live in the deeper urban areas of Pittsburgh. Remember, a flood warning means that a flood is about to happen for sure, or is already taking place. We suggest you start preparing for the worst, and we will educate you on what you need to know to stay safe. Anthony?
Yes, hello. Now for those of you who do not know, a flood is when unusual, excessive amounts of water inundate dry land. But why does this happen?
Floods can happen for various reasons. In our case, there has been an excessive amount of rainfall, therefore increasing the elevation of water in our three rivers to above the normal safe levels, which is not good. The Allegheny, Ohio, and Monongahela rivers are going to overflow and swamp our city, especially the downtown area portion of it. The Great Pittsburgh Flood of 1936 looked like this. So again, we do suggest that you prepare for the worst.
While this is the most common way that floods occur in our city, there are many other methods that a flood can utilize to form itself. These include tsunamis, persistent thunderstorms, hurricanes, rapid snowmelts, and droughts. A tsunami is a titanic, towering wave of water that usually happens after an earthquake. When this hits land, the wave submerges a lot of the ground beneath water, thus causing intense flooding. Fortunately for us, earthquakes and tsunamis almost never occur in our area. Persistent thunderstorms, along with hurricanes, bring a lot of rain with them, obviously, so that can cause river elevations to rise and overflow. Blizzards aren't too common in our area, but they have happened before. However, we have never had an extreme weather swing after a blizzard, where all the snow steadily melts at once and floods everything. Finally, a drought is when an area does not receive rain or any precipitation really for a prolonged amount of time. Because of this, a lot of the soil and land dries up and hardens. Then, if it suddenly rains, the ground has a difficult time absorbing all the water because of how dry it is. Since the water isn't being soaked up by the ground, it will collect and possibly start sudden floods. Due to the multitude of ways a flood can form and how common they could be, it is considered to be one of the most deadly natural disasters. Out of all the weather-related deaths that occur in our city yearly, 203 out of the 274 are flood-related demises. That's approximately 74%, so please do be careful, everybody.
Thank you, Anthony. Now you may be wondering how floods have killed so many people. How are they so dangerous? First of all, with all the pollutants and contaminated matters seeping into our water, having all of that spill out towards land is definitely not a good thing. The waters may contain toxins or fatal diseases that are very unhealthy for humans to be exposed to, along with how Anthony said that floods can occur due to many reasons, thus making them more common. They can also happen very rapidly, in what we call a flash flood. Due to the sudden nature that these floods have, they are very unpredictable, and that makes them difficult to prepare for. However, the number one reason why floods are so dangerous and fatal has to do with vehicles, namely cars. Did you know that only 1 to 2 feet of water running at about 6 miles per hour is required to quickly destabilize and float the average family-sized vehicle? Now, some vehicles like the Range Rover claim to have legendary off-road capability.
Let me cut you off there. Range Rovers were basically built to do anything in this life, whether it be wind, water,
Okay. Despite its claims, I still would not suggest driving a vehicle in water unless you are absolutely certain that the water is safe to travel through. The water will probably be safe enough to drive through if, 1, the water is less than halfway up to your wheels, or 2, the water is moving at a very slow speed, or better yet, stationary. If these conditions are not met, please do not drive in water. It may float you towards a much deeper body of water where your car sinks and you end up drowning and dying, which is not fun. Another danger is if the car's electronics go haywire because of the water. The worst case scenario is if all the airbags push out, which could cause some serious injury. Now, if you are to enter flooding waters on foot, then you should be very careful. Again, this water could be very contaminated and riddled with many diseases. Also, only about 6 inches of water moving at only 6 miles per hour is generally enough for you to be unable to get up from the water without slipping again, and you'll possibly be rushed away to, again, a much deeper body of water where you could drown. Now, drowning can be very dangerous even if you consider yourself a strong swimmer, because most stats have shown that about 2/3 of people who die from flood-related accidents are actually strong swimmers. So if at all possible, don't enter water on foot, or of course even in your car, because there is a high chance of death.
Not only could you die or seriously injure yourself during a flood, but a lot of money and property is lost. From 1978 to 2001, approximately $9.5 billion have been lost in flood damages in the top 10 states where floods occur. As for how to stay safe or take precautions in a flood, there are multiple ways. First off, rain gauges can help us predict floods because of how unpredictable they are. Rain gauges measure the amount of rainfall that is falling in a specific area. Therefore, if that amount crosses a certain threshold, scientists can issue a flood warning or watch. If a flood watch is issued, be sure to pay close attention to your radio, phone, or TV to stay informed. Also, come up with a plan for what you and your family are going to do if said flood happens. Traveling to higher ground is definitely a good idea, as most of the floodwater will not be able to reach you. Also, prepare an emergency medical kit for any injuries. Finally, disconnect anything electronic to prevent being electrocuted. As per usual, stay away from water whether you are walking or driving. On top of that, stay away from any muddy areas with debris. The water could cause a land/mudslide. Finally, turn off any gas switches or utilities to prevent any dangerous fires or explosions. Trust me, that is the last thing you need after an awful flood.
Well, as you already know, these floods do happen in the Bethel Park/Pittsburgh area. Pittsburgh has 3 large rivers that could overflow from heavy rain. Floods are a serious threat that have caused many deaths and damages in our area. Some notable floods that have happened in Pittsburgh include the previously mentioned flood of 1936, the St. Patrick's Day floods, the Agnes floodings, snowmelt floods, and Hurricane Connie and Diane, which have caused floods. So yeah.
Now, go and prepare for this flood, get to high ground, remember all the tips we gave you, and most of all, stay safe.
This PSA is terminated.